Hello.
Hello. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I am doing great. I'm just getting your stuff together here. All right. You're ready?
Yes, I am ready.
Amazing. Okay. Okay, so first is class. You look like a IceLight Mage.
Yes, Ice
Uh,
Lightning.
okay. And you're level 232?
Yesterday or last night I leveled up to 220. So
220. Okay.
yes.
Okay, that's some decent Abzo stuff for 220. Okay. And you got the Dom. All right. What are you doing? Like a daily, run me through a day of Maple Story. What do you do?
Uh, so I have this spreadsheet that I keep track of. If you want me to link it to you, I can do so, or I can just say it. Um,
Is it like a 15 by 15 spreadsheet, or is it like three things?
it's the dailies is like 15 by 15. Yeah. I think it's pretty easy to decipher.
Okay.
Yeah. Let me just link it to you over Discord. Um. Okay. Here it is.
So in general, you're pretty casual, right? You just play for fun,
Yeah. I play for fun.
but with a spreadsheet.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know. I think it's easier to keep track of what to do, especially on my main.
Mm-hmm.
When I was like leveling up my other characters, especially the Mercedes and Kana, it was also pretty helpful to keep track of. But yeah,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then when you have events going on, your priorities might shift a little bit.
yeah. I don't know. Like if you scroll down, there's like a bunch of like random stuff, random like comments,
Yeah.
whatever. Um,
Yeah, I see.
but yeah, yeah. Mhm.
Leveling stuff. Oh, yeah, you got like a lot of stuff just like in one file.
Yeah. Mhm.
Oh, yeah, I should have a website, huh? Where you could just click through and just have all of this look nice. Your trios. Oh, yeah, just keep track of like what am I aiming for in the inner ability. Yeah, I see. Okay. So is the Ursus box not checked? Is that just a check for the day itself, or?
Yeah, for the day itself. Yeah, essentially.
I see. Okay. So just every day you do all of these things?
Uh, yeah, every single day so nowadays it's what I'm trying to focus on now is just doing dailies on my main and then building up my legion.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, if I also in the future have plans to do Kana farming, so once my legion is up to a certain standard, I'll probably start on that.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
So you feel
yeah.
you play enough to make that worth?
Uh, yes, or at least recently I do.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Because
yeah,
in
I
the
think
Ice Lightning Mage, you have a pretty solid like mobber as well, or pretty solid, like a very solid mobber as
uh,
well.
yeah, it is.
So
I
if
think
you,
Ice Lightning Mage is quite good
mm-hmm.
at mobbing, um, but it's not as brain dead as Kana.
Oh no, I mean very few things are.
Yeah.
So you do generally like appreciate more just like the brain dead, just sitting in the map, like using three
Oh,
skills and
yeah,
then
yeah.
yeah,
I
okay.
think yeah, I think in general mages are pretty fun to play.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and I consider Kana a mage. So,
Ooh,
yeah.
that's a hot take there. Are you sure you want to Make that
Hot
one
take,
live on
hot
stream.
take.
Hot take, yeah. Guys, this guy considers Kana as a mage. Oof, I don't know what we're gonna do with this guy. Okay. Yeah. So one of the things I would say, like, there's a lot of dailies you can do, but in every single situation where you are, you always kind of want to be reevaluating. Like, is this a daily I can do, or that is useful for me to do, right? Because I
Okay.
do see
Yeah.
some things on the list where it's like, okay, you can do this one to get the crystal to get a few mil. Because
Yeah.
like, I assume that's why some of those are on the list, right? Like Papalatus,
Yeah. Yeah.
regular
Von
Pink
Leon.
Bean, Hilla, yeah, from Leon, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and where you wonder, to which extent does this really still help you, or to which extent is this kind of like holding you back from committing more and going further? But what this
Yeah.
the other thing that goes into the equation is like, if this is fun for you to do, then then it's not necessarily a bad thing that it's not like efficient time wise. But because if it's fun for you to do, then you still want to have enjoyment in the game, and then that gives it way more
Yeah.
value that it's fun. So
Yeah, for sure. I think from my point of view, I usually do these like the extra bosses to I guess save up for money, like events. Um, Especially like recently DMT was able to buy out all the cubes essentially, and
not
then
use them, but buy them out at least.
yeah, I still have a bunch of them. But yeah, and I think I would say that I enjoy it, or at least like I don't know, like the daily grind, going on my main. I think I enjoy it more than just staying on one map and grinding it out for 2 hours at a time. So yeah, that's my take on it.
Okay.
But another thing that I wanted to ask you was if there was anything that I could maybe cut out, and something that I should probably prioritize later. Because I think for me, the game is inherently very fun. I think it does somewhat of a good job of rewarding you as you go, which is why I continue playing.
Still playing, yeah.
Um, Especially with like making new characters and trying to make my main character stronger. But yeah.
Well, that kind of leads into the second question. Like, what are you aiming for right now?
I think right now I'm just trying to increase the power of my main character, which is the Ice Lightning. And because I have a few friends who are super strong. One of them has like a 6K Legion. The other one is like pretty high level with a decent Legion. And I want to be able to boss with them. In like, I guess the first step is probably soloing Kra, and then next step is probably doing End Lucid with them. But yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So for short term, series solo, then into Lotus Damien parties, and then progress from there to either being able to solo or duo and getting into normal Lucid parties. That'd be like the general like big milestone steps that you'd be looking for.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And have you had like any classes that you've been playing for Legion as well that you've particularly enjoyed?
I would say that like the classes were most of the classes that I've played were very enjoyable to play. So far I have IL, Mercedes, Kana, Arc, Adele, Luminous, Hoyoung, and I made an
So you cut off at the part at the end. What did you make? An arc?
yeah, Mercedes. I think up to probably level 160 was okay, and then once I got to Omega Sector, I actually just got straight destroyed.
Yeah, you keep getting bodied. Yeah.
Yeah, I got bodied, but I was pretty committed to getting her to level 210 because that was my Terror Burn character.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it was also the second character that I created because I started playing this game again like a month ago. And I start like when I first played this game, it was like, oh, hello?
Hello. Yeah. When you first
Okay.
started playing the game, it was like.
It was like probably 3 years ago, 2017,
Mm-hmm.
during the summer, like around this time. Um, but yeah, at that time I only had like my IceLight Mage at like level 100 or so.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So humble
but yeah,
beginnings.
yeah. So basically, starting from the beginning, and my Mercedes is now 210, and I'm not touching that character for a very long time.
You didn't like the fifth job enough to.
I thought the fifth child was pretty cool. Um,
I agree.
and it did make mobbing and bossing a lot easier.
Mm-hmm.
But I still think that it's a bit weak. Probably because I'm not getting any damage from any other sources.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's one of the main things. Like a lot of people don't like Mercedes very much. There's definitely something to her playstyle that just you have to, you have to like. Not everyone likes that.
yeah.
But the other thing is that most people, and I think this is people that I think that's often overlooked, is that a lot of people go for Mercedes very first because it has one of the most fundamental link skills. And as a result, you
Yes.
have the least amount of buffs coming in from any other sources in the game. So you're playing it at its weakest, whereas with every other character you're playing, you're always playing them in an elevated state because of the link skills and the Legion buffing your character. So as a result,
Yes.
you're playing the Mercedes on the hardest mode as well, typically.
Yeah.
Like well, you kind of
Um,
already touched up on that, yeah. Like she's not getting
yeah.
boosted by as much, so yeah,
Mhm.
that's definitely true.
Yeah. Other than that, I actually really enjoyed playing Luminous. Looking to get him to level 210 for
Hmm.
that level 3 link skill.
I would have guessed that if
Um,
you liked the no brain mage approach, then Luminous is probably right up your alley.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, my Kana and Adele are level 200 at the moment, and the rest are level 140, particularly for the Legion effect.
Yeah. So you're
Yeah.
aware of all the levels when the link skills and the Legion effects and when all of that happens.
Yeah. Legion is like, or like, yeah, for Legion, it's like 60, 100, 140, 200, and 250. And Link skill is 70, 120, and 210.
Yeah. Yeah. So you got the
Yeah.
link to my links grid.
Yes.
Since you already have the proclivity to make sheets, I assume that you've already found a few of mine as well.
Yeah, I have. I've been sort of a lurker.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, so I've been watching you for the past month or so.
Okay, so I
Yeah.
mean, then have you seen like gear progression videos before as well?
I have,
Mm-hmm.
but I haven't seen, or I think IceLight Mage is quite unpopular in GMS, or at least I haven't seen that many.
I think we did
I
one. I think we did one progression for Nice Lightning, maybe.
Oh, like this, I did watch that video. It was like years ago, I think,
Yeah,
or
it
like
might
a
have been.
year ago or something like
It's
that. Yeah.
possible. Yeah, they've been spread out a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like a year ago, but that one was like level 240 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to have one that was more relevant to
To
where I
you.
am at now.
Yeah, yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. So are there any like specific gaming element things that I mentioned in these videos that are like still a little bit foreign to you, or?
Um, Not particularly. I think some of the end game stuff, like accessory crafting, particularly the Meister ring,
Mm-hmm.
is I'm not sure if I should start thinking about that now. Um, and I guess for like Galax, I haven't started doing normal Golics yet, but that's also because I haven't had found the motivation to start,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not sure if I should do normal Golics and if it's worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know that, or at least from what one of my friends said, Hard Lux and Helix are the ones that drop the coins,
Yeah.
and he said that I have to consistently be able to do those two for like a few months in order to get the rings.
For a long time. You have to get the rings,
Yeah.
and then the main reason you get the rings is for the set bonuses, not even for the rings itself, because you can just get event rings that are stronger than the rings. The
Yeah.
rings will only start like coming into play once they're 17 star or higher, which, you know, if you look at your overall gear, getting 17 star rings is like still pretty far down the line as well. So until that point, you're going to be relying on event rings for a very long time. So the best thing you can do is focus on upgrading what you have now, get to the hard lux part, and then just save up coins, and then see how far you get with drops. But yeah, something like Golux is definitely pushed way far back in the progression. Like my hero doesn't even, I don't even like doing, like my hero is very bursty and can like chop down Golux, but it can go wrong as well and it tilts me, and there's only one run a day, and it's and my hero is pretty strong too. And he's like almost 240 at this point, but yeah, it's just Helix is kind of a shit show now. So you can't even rely on the thing every time because the portal is still broken after 4 fixes, and yeah, it's such a far away thing now where Golix was like the pivotal progression point. Like as soon as you reach past level 200 basically, and you start saving up your coins, you can even get coins from easy and normal, like when you start at 150 or 160. Now Golux is pretty much like a non-issue until you get like into 230 area, and then you can start doing hard lux, and then hopefully you can start doing like a Helix pretty close thereafter once you make like those big increases, like, you know, everything 17 star, everything 2 line, that kind of stuff, everything legendary, you know, that kind of stuff. But like, you know, like 220 to 25 I guess. But it's going to depend a little bit on what class you are as well. Some classes just have kits that allow them to move more freely and be less, you know, be more carefree in something like the Golux boss fight. In other classes, because you don't have a static summon, right? Everything follows you.
Yeah, or rather the thunderstorm ability that I have is static, but
only if there are targets, right? Otherwise it moves to you, or
everything follows me.
Yeah. Does your chain lightning reach down and kill the potatoes if you're on eye phase?
Yeah, it can.
Okay, but only if they're like close to the middle, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so that's, I guess Lumi has that. Yeah, Lumi probably has it similarly, I'm guessing. Yeah. Okay. So what are the things you're already aware of that you have? Like, well, let's go through these things first. Like the flames and flame score. Does that all make sense to you?
Flames, yes, but flame scores. I tried to look at it and I didn't really understand it.
Okay.
I did see a formula, but I wasn't sure like where to plug and chug, essentially, or like how the plug and chug is relevant.
So yeah, so it can seem like an unnecessary step to make if you already get how flames work. The main thing is that there are just so many things that go into so there's a few things to consider. One thing is that a flame being good for you, let me give you the direct example because you know how flames work, right? If you look at your cup, you have 2 cups, right?
Yeah, I have 2 cups.
And one of them gives 52 intellect, and the other one gives 5% all stat, and the other one even gives like some luck as well, right? But it gives you less range right now. So what does that what does that mean? The range is lower, so technically, like in your position, you just use the 1. But if you look at the score, which is pretty predictive, it's off, right?
Okay, yeah.
So what does that mean? So it means that in every single situation, you always look at what is your total percentage of a stat, what is your total stat, What is your percentage magic attack? What is your total magic attack? All of these things
Okay,
always
I
go
see.
into like a calculation at any given moment.
Hmm.
But what always ends up happening is that eventually, when you're in different stages of the game, when you're in certain levels of being upgraded, you will gravitate towards a certain amount of stat, a certain amount of percentage stat, a certain amount of attack, a certain amount of percentage attack or magic attack in your case. And then going from those parameters, your flames will have a certain value compared to each other.
Okay, I see. Yeah.
So as you're still working, it can be very confusing to be like, okay, this is better. Oh, and now next week suddenly the other one is better. And then also like, oh, I have 52 stat, but I can also have like 80, but I can also have a bunch of all stat. But how does the 52 really work? Is it like 24 luck and 24 dex, and then 24 dex and 20 intellect? Like, where do the numbers all come from? Is this all like a bunch of tier 3 things stacked together? Or is there a tier 6 in there? Like, a lot of times it's very difficult to see, like, is this close to what the potential of the item is, or is this way off, or especially in the beginning, right? And how does it compare to other items? So that's why I made the flame score, where you can basically just grade them all roughly evenly,
Okay.
not necessarily in the moment that you get them, but
Hmm.
for the goal that you're aiming for.
Okay, I see.
Otherwise, you might unnecessarily be reflaming things. And wasting money, while eventually it will gravitate towards a position where it actually becomes better for you.
I see. Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
And that's because of your sources
Yeah.
just constantly changing, right? You switch an item here, you change a flame there, you switch a weapon. Yeah. So that's why the flame score, if you throw it in a well, you probably know how to do it, but if you have like multiple items, you can throw them in and compare them, and you can move forward in a certain direction so that once you get there, the items are like roughly optimized with each other, and they're not like the best thing they were 15 levels ago.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's kind of
I
the
see.
goal. Yeah.
Mhm.
So that's why I have the
And
progression sheet,
yeah,
which you probably have already seen as well, right? The progression
yeah,
one. So
yeah.
that's where I talk about the flame scores and what kind of flame score you aim for, so that you just know, like, okay, this one might not be optimal now. I might have this other item that looks worse but is actually better, but eventually it'll be better. So
I
this one
see.
is set,
Yeah.
and then you move on to the next item, kind of deal.
Okay. Another question I had was fusing.
Mm-hmm.
I think so. I heard that fusing cups is also part of getting better gear. Is this one case where I fuse both of these cups, or is there a particular case that is reserved?
If you're in this situation, I would just always keep one cup. It kind of depends on your flame income, but if your flame income is probably pretty moderate, I would say, because you're not doing most of the weeklies, which is where most of the flames come from. Some come from Madman Remaru, and a few
Hmm.
come from like the normal dailies and a few hard ones that you might be able to do. But most of them come from the
Yeah.
weekly bosses, right?
Hmm.
So for now, I would just keep whatever flame has like the highest score, I guess, or works the best for
Hmm.
you. They're pretty
Okay, I
close
see.
either way, right? So
Okay.
just keep one,
Yeah. Hmm.
and then just hold the extra, and then every time you kill a pink bean and it drops a cup, you can fuse whatever two. So like number 2 and number 3 together. And if then that
Okay.
one is better for you, you just switch it. And if it's not, you just keep that one until next week or until the next drop, basically. But essentially, you're just
Okay.
treating an
Sure.
extra cup
Sounds good.
as an extra flame drop, basically.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. As far as flaming it goes, it'll depend on the other items that have comparable flame score goals. And if
Hmm.
your cup is like way lower than it, then you can just choose to flame it. But it's good to always have a backup, or to make sure that you minimize your losses when doing a flame session. So
Hmm.
either look at how many flames you have left and see if the current result you have is reasonable to stick with, or to see if you don't mind throwing some money at it. It depends on how good everything else is upgraded. Generally, I think flames is something that you just gradually build up on the side as you go, and you mainly focus on star forcing and your potential, your cubing, pretty
Okay.
for like a long time. And then once you get to a point like I have all the gear I want, then you can just flame around, because the other systems are a little bit more intricate, right? With star forcing, you can do like you can do transfer hammering stuff. There's events that you have to play around. With
Oh,
cubing,
yes.
there's like DMTs and stuff, and like higher tiers can make your income go up a lot. And with flames, it's mostly like, well, once you have the equip and it's already good, then you could just make the flame better. And it's not
Okay.
there's barely any options of like saving previous flames, or there's no flame events. So it's something you can basically do at any time. So I generally, you slowly build it up a little bit as you make flames, but it's like something you kind of min max afterwards when you're kind of already done, just to squeeze a little bit more potential out of your items.
Okay, I see.
For transfer hammering, have you considered how that could be helping you?
So I mainly use the transfer hammer to go from the level 140 equipment to the 160 equipment. In particularly from Absolab to Absolab.
Through CRA
Yeah.
stuff, or?
For no, so I used for the gloves. I used the Magnus gloves,
Yeah.
and for the shoulder, I happened to get a drop from Ranmaru.
Okay.
Yeah. But outside of that, I'm not sure what else, or like what there is.
So
Yeah.
if your aim is probably just going to be 17-star Abzo, right?
Yes.
So one of
I
the
was.
thing, yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, I was gonna say that I watched a video where, like end game gear is probably like you still have your 3 cross set, the hat, top and bot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not, and then the rest is Absolab, but then like eventually you'll like replace it with Arcane, but that's way down the line. Um,
Yeah, and that depends
yeah.
on how you play.
Yeah.
Because I've been running those bosses for like for 2 years now. Or no, for 1 full year now. And I've gotten 2 drops, which were 2 extra weapons on one character. So
Okay. Yeah.
even so, if you get unlucky there, that plan is like completely thwarted. Unless you spend considerable amount of time farming in the areas that drop the droplets, and you buy the items yourself.
Mm. Oh yeah. Yeah.
And with with what I think is like healthy for people, and what I think the game needs and community needs and people need, I feel like kind of bad like advising people to lock themselves into a Arcana map for a few thousand hours to make arcane gear. Because it's like, well, that's why they used to call it CLP. They called it CL prison, right? Because you're basically locking yourself in, and you can only come out once you made your droplets. That could be a way you want to play the game. I think for a lot of people, it makes more sense, and I think it gives them way more freedom to do what they want, just to aim for high star Absolab stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
That is my goal.
so the general thing you could do is just, if you already have the Abzo, it's already unique or legendary. What you can do is, whenever there's an event, 30% off, you get it to 15. Then a 5, 10, 15, you get it from 15 to 17. And then you just, that's usually where you just hold, then you work on the potential a bit. Maybe you get it to legendary, maybe you get it to 2-line, and then you'll optimize your flames a bit, that kind of stuff. The reason you can optimize your flames here is because of the long-term plan, because the long-term plan will be getting those level 150 drops, waiting until a 5, 10, 15, and then trying to get those to 21 stars. And then at 21, either transfer hammer into your existing Abzo, which will only be 17, quote unquote only, right? And only be legendary with 2 lines, and then replace the potential afterwards. But because when you transpose, you don't switch over the flame, however good the flame is will stay at that point. So that's why that's a decent investment already.
I see. Okay.
But yeah, the step like between those two is huge. Of course, it's a lot of time.
Yeah.
But that's basically when you're gonna make the step between like doing normal lucid and maybe practicing normal will, and then moving into doing like hard lucid and hard will. That's when you need to make that jump, basically.
Okay. I see. Yeah.
So that's like way further down the line. But the good thing to know for that is doing the pre-work, like getting the Rimuru shoulders. Those are very rare. So having that as your daily and saving up all those shoulders, that's like a very important step to start doing as soon as possible if you think there is a future for you for doing these hard bosses, for example.
Yeah, I've been saving all the hard boss drops, or like the relevant ones, like the Ranmaru ones. But yeah, like as you said, the drop rates are pretty low, and
Yeah.
you also get like gear from other classes too. So
Yeah, but for shoulders, the gear for other classes doesn't matter, right? For transfer hammer, you can always transfer hammer. Yeah.
doesn't matter.
But so what I would do, because your inventory will fill like crazy with this, is for shoulders, just keep all the shoulders. For cape, keep just the Chaos Sakum cape. Because then if you blow it up, you can always transfer hammer and it'll just save you a bunch of money with the trace. It'll save you, no, not so much money, but it'll save you time to have to click a bunch of times.
You said to save the cape from, or like buy capes, or?
No, from Chaos Sakum, like the enraged Sakum cape, the brown one.
Oh, okay.
Because the Rimuru capes are like the same, but they're all from different classes, and then you can't transfer the trace over, right? Because it's a different name.
Yeah.
So I would just like get rid of those, and you can just stack up like, I don't know. Usually I stack up like 6 to 8 enraged Sakum capes, and then everything else I also get rid of. And then for gloves and shoes, I would typically just get rid of all of those, because you can buy those root gloves and you can buy those root shoes. At any point when you need to, as long as you've been doing Magnus and as long as you've been doing normal Rudibus sometimes. You do, because you didn't have normal Rudibus in the list, or did you?
Oh, yeah, so I don't do them anymore because I thought it was pointless. I did them for a very long time though, so I have a bunch of coins saved up. Yeah,
so the value in them is if you do Queen and Vellum, because they have double S tier soul shards.
Oh yeah, I have the soul shard, or I have a decent amount already. I have like 20 of each. So I was thinking of just putting that to rest.
Yeah. Well, to give you perspective, so the chance of getting a Magnificent Soul from your soul shards is 1% chance.
Oh.
So for on average, for every 1,000 soul shards, you'll get 1 Magnificent Soul.
Okay.
And during Magnificent event, it's 5 times the chance, so that means 1 in 200.
Okay, I see.
So 20 is definitely not nothing, but it kind of is. Like at the grand scheme, you want to like optimize your chances. Yeah, therefore like normal Magnus, normal Queen, normal Vellum, and then the weekly versions of those bosses and all the other weekly bosses that are good is a good daily to keep up if you want to get a nice double S tier. Because on top of that, you also have to realize, like, even if you get that Magnificent, it's still random roll whatever stat you get. So if you don't get the stat you want, it's still kind of bad. So there's multiple factors of RNG in there.
Yeah, okay.
But on the other side, I think something like if you're open to like switching up some dailies, I think Funleon, Papalatus, probably normal Pink Bean, because I think you'll be able to do Chaos soon, and then you can get basically always get a cup there at least once a week, and just focus more on other things.
Sure.
And normal Hilla, moving those out and doing the 2 normal Rudibus in instead will still save you time on the dailies, but will net you better rewards, I think, from a day to day.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so that's how I think Transfer Hammer will be nice for you. So that does mean that if you have like a 50% EPOD and you don't have any item that needs to be epicked or something, you can use one of those backups that you have, be it a Chaos Zakum Cape, be it one of those Rimuru Shoulders. Well, the Rimuru Shoulders typically always come as epic anyway. But be it like one of those capes, you could just throw it on one of those, make sure that one is epic, so that whenever if it does blow up, you trace it down and it stays epic. Or if it doesn't blow up, that you transfer hammer, and then that your new shoulder only goes down from legendary to epic and not all the way down to rare.
Okay,
That
yeah.
way you can preserve some of the value.
Yeah. I mean, I've been doing Ursus every day, so
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot of the materials required for that E-pot. So,
Oh yeah,
and
that's also something. Yeah,
yeah,
I
almost
haven't.
all my, or actually all of my equipment is um, epic or higher. So, I
Yeah,
think it'll be fine.
you have the Zakum face accessories that are like lower, but you're not actively using those. I think.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Oh, your
Or at
earring,
least
I
like
guess.
for the earrings, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
earrings.
Yeah, I didn't think that it was worth potentialing them up because they would eventually get replaced.
Mm-hmm.
But should I potential them up? Because since Galax is quite far from what I'm like where I'm at now,
Uh huh.
maybe I should potential them up. Or like if there's an alternative earring that I can use, then maybe that is an option. But
Yeah. So the boss accessory set basically got it stayed exactly the same, but because Galax got way less accessible, the boss accessory set is way more prominent now in terms of progression, and has basically been moved from only early game and very, very early mid game stuff to basically being the entire mid game and even early late game stuff. Just
okay,
because of how much the Galax stuff has been pushed back. The set bonuses is nice and is nicer than anything else you can really get.
mm-hmm.
And there's a huge benefit in the fact that most of the pieces of the boss accessory set can all get boss tier flames.
Yeah,
So the combination of the set effect and the boss tier flames makes them overpower the Sweetwater items
okay,
for quite a bit. I would say the main part where you unequivocally start moving in Sweetwater stuff in favor of them is when the set already starts breaking up partially anyway because of maybe Galax stuff being introduced.
okay, I see.
And when you get past 15 stars on the Sweetwater stuff, because that's when the weapon and the magic attack every level starts coming in, and that's when it starts gaining a lot of extra power over the boss accessory pieces, because they are very limited in how much Star Force they can get because of their level.
Okay, I see.
And well, yeah, and then the added benefit, of course, that the Sweetwater stuff has the higher tier potential, so there's like an extra percent for every line as well. That's when they definitely come into play. So that might
Okay.
so it's good that you already have them like as backup. So they already start as epic. So are you just equipping the monocle and tattoo for now?
No, I actually just like keep them in my inventory.
Mm-hmm.
I mainly use the face and eye or Zekum
Yep.
face and
Except
eye.
for now. Okay. Yeah, what I typically do is I invest in a Zakum Face and Eye in the beginning. Aim for like a drop rate Mesoptane line and hopefully some stat with it and get like an okay flame, and that's then pretty much it. And then I
Okay.
keep that for a while, and then until there's like a big Star Force event where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get everything to 15 and then maybe everything to 17 soon. Then that's when I start investing in the Sweetwater stuff. Yeah, like my arc is 260, but uses the Sweetwater stuff as the drop gear pieces now. Basically,
Uh-huh.
they still
Okay, I see.
have that value, and because you'll get so strong in your Absolab stuff and your arcane power and your boost nodes and everything, you don't really need like a 22 star or even like a 17 star. I guess 22 is pretty extreme. Like a 17 star Sweetwater monocle and tattoo. To be your drop rate gear so that you can kill the monsters around your level or something. We have more than enough sources of damage from other
Okay,
things.
I see.
As long as you make sure that what would I call like the hybrid gear, right? The gear that's both part of drop set and of boss set,
Yeah.
that the common gear there is adequately strong, then at that point, basically the base stats of your drop rate gear becomes almost negligible.
Okay.
To the extent where you're like, well, to which extent do you really want to min max like your base stats on your chaos ring? Like, yes, it's really cool to have like 4 extra magic attack and some extra intellect, but
Mm-hmm.
the amount of time you spend like re-rolling that and caring about how good that is, eventually it's gonna be a drop rate ring, and then eventually it's like,
Yeah.
yeah. But especially for a newer player, right? That's if you already have access to the Galax rings. If you're a newer player, the Chaos ring stays with you for a very long time because it's easily just the best achievable ring for probably like a year of playing. Like
Yeah.
the only thing that gets better is like if you get a kind of treasure ring very high, if you get a Meister ring very high, and then if you if there's like some weird event ring, like like the Tenebris expedition ring, or one of those, right?
Yeah.
Like other than that, this is like a best in slot ring for a long time. So then you do want to min max it more. So it definitely depends on your person's situation.
Okay, I see.
Are you going for any of the other rings in the next shop?
There's only one good ring, right? I forget what it's called. The one that's like for 800 coins or something like that. The synergy ring.
Synergy?
I was thinking of putting that on my Kana, but if you have other advice.
So synergy ring by itself is kind of weak, but it gets better if you have it on multiple characters.
Okay, yeah.
And then it gives you the set bonus, and then it becomes as strong as like a neutral chaos ring.
Okay, I see.
But you have to have it equipped on 5 characters at once. You can check ! Rings in the chat. I have like a picture of all of the event rings there and how strong they can get and what it takes to make them. Because the Master Ring SS is also coming back, which will be as strong as a fully stacked synergy ring. And if you just have it on one character, but it has RNG to craft it. So there's pros and cons there.
Okay, I see.
But you're currently using 8 set, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, you're using 8 set boss accessory set, and I don't.
Yeah.
So like your options here are moving the
Silver Blossom.
Well, yeah. So there's 2 options, right? Is moving the Silver Blossom for an event ring, or switching your Ayame belt in for either the Pink Bean or the Zakun belt.
Okay, I see.
Because then you would gain 15 stat, 10 weapon magic attack, 10% boss damage, and an item that can be boss flamed versus non-boss flamed.
Okay.
And possibly even, if you get the Pink Bean belt, possibly even transfer hammered into the Superior belt if you ever get that.
Okay.
Which can also maintain some of its value. Yeah, or since you're probably still mainly focusing on mobbing and stuff, or exactly switching the Silver Blossom ring out for a Master SS ring, and then maybe the Vengeful for a Synergy ring if you can get it on enough characters. But like you said, it's pretty cheap per character. In the beginning, it's quite an investment, right? Because you basically have to invest if it's 800 per character, you have to invest 4,000 coins to get it to the same level. But then every extra ring for every character is only 800 extra to get the benefit of a 2,000 coin ring, right? So then the more characters you have it on, the more efficient it becomes.
Right. I think there's only a maximum of 2 that you can buy in the world, right?
For the synergy ring?
Yeah, for this event, the Phase 2 event, or can you buy it across all characters?
I thought you'd be able to buy 1 per character, I think. But we can double check.
Okay.
You have this neat little Rise coin shop. Yeah, it says a limited quantity 1, which means 1 per character, yeah.
Okay, I see.
Yeah, if it says like per world, then that means it's like, well, basically per account, but...
Okay, so it's across 5 characters, you said.
Yeah, if you have it equipped on 5, then the set bonus will elevate it to the point where it'll have the same stats.
Okay, I see.
So it's this one right here, yeah. So if you wear it on 5, you'll get 30 all stat, 20 weapon magic attack.
Okay, I see. Okay. Yeah, I'll probably just switch it out for the Silver Blossom ring, and then as for the Ayame belt, I'll probably get the Zakun belt.
Yes, if you switch both out, then you drop back down to the 6 set bonus, right? So then you lose your 10% ID as well. So it'd probably be an either or thing.
Okay.
Or what are your other options? Or
wait, the Ayame belt is
1, 2, 3.
not part of the boss set, right?
It's part of the set with your ring currently.
Oh, that's right.
So it'll give you some extra there. So yeah, those are like the 2 options. Like your Ayame belt is already It's already epic. It's already 12 stars. Already has 6% intellect. So, best option there is, I guess the best option now is probably to switch out the ring, right? Because it only is rare anyway, and the base stats are pretty poopy. So, yeah, I think the ring switching is probably going to be good. It's going to be big for you now.
Okay.
Next thing is your shoe, I guess.
Oh yeah. I'll have enough for the shoe next week.
The Abzo shoe?
Or yeah, for the Abzo shoe.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going also regarding IceLight gear. I was going to save all the cubes that I bought for my the IceLight weapon that I'll probably get in about 2 weeks, and the Princess Snow secondary weapon that I'll get also in 2 weeks. Just to put that out there.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
On that note, I would not go for the Princess Nose secondary.
Oh, you would not?
No. As a IceLight Mage, you want a shield.
Oh.
So for that, you want to kill normal Empress and get the Deimos Sage Shield recipe and craft that.
Deimos. Okay.
Don't think I have a character that has that.
For crafting, do you have to be a certain like level to ensure like a? Okay, I see.
Here it is. This is what the shield looks like.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah, so if you're at level 10 and you're high enough level, which you are, then you'll have a 100% chance to succeed. All you need is like these just to buy from the NPC. You need 3 Lydium, which is like nothing, and 2 superior item crystals, so that's also nothing.
Okay, I see.
But so the reason is that these things have very, very poor base stats, but they go up to 20 stars. So they have that thing where past 15 you start getting a lot of magic attack on them. And then you'll essentially have the same stats as this one. So you'll have like 85 intellect and luck and 45 weapon and magic attack. So that just overpowers the Princess Snow by a lot.
Okay, I see.
And you'll probably aim for 17 first, and then get backup recipes, and then whenever there's an opportunity, you'll try to push beyond. But that is a good thing to invest into. But they're easy to craft, and they're it's a decently high drop rate from normal Empress. You might have to do some research to see where else they drop rather than just from normal Cygnus, but that's like the easiest way to get them as long as you have some drop rate booster.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yep. And that'll give you a lot of damage because your secondary has nothing now, so there's like a lot of magic attack that will be coming from that will empower you quite a bit. So in a sense, I like your setup right now because there's like an extreme, right? You can be like, oh, you definitely don't want to overinvest in an item that you're going to be replacing. That's like the general advice. But then the extreme of that is, if this item is going to be replaced, then I'm going to invest nothing in it, right? Which is an extreme and possible. So there's 2 ways that can go. On one way, if you do that too much, it can be like, well, my character is so weak, I'm going to quit it now because I can't kill anything. On the other hand is, if that doesn't happen to you and you can keep playing it and still kind of have fun, the amount of boost you will get from it once you do actually upgrade it is so immense that it'll give you so much more enjoyment that you're like, the chance of you ever like leaving that character is like 0, I think. Because, if you're able to tough it out with how much you're actually kind of like gimping yourself here, then the boost will be so immense that that'll feel great.
Okay, I see. Yeah, I think I generally try to optimize for long term, which is why I'm kind of just like the stuff that I'm eventually going to replace or that will not stay with me for a long time, I'll just like forget about it. Just like
Yeah, I could tell because of the secondary and your eye in your face as well have been with you probably almost like 120 levels now. But they don't even have potential, right? So it's pretty. I can see that here for sure. But like I always say to everyone, there's never like this one thing that you snap your fingers and now you're like you're suddenly godly and everything dies in one shot. Unless it's like equipping and unequipping your level 25 boost nodes, or equipping or unequipping all your symbols, of course. But you will have worked up to that point. There's going to be a lot of work in there. And similarly with all your gear and all your stuff, it's always a little bit of everything working together that's going to make you as strong as you are. And therefore, focusing now, quote unquote, disproportionately on the things where you can make the most gains will just elevate your entire character disproportionately. So, going from a non-potential, non-set bonus contributing Silver Blossom ring to a ring that has 10 times the base stats and doesn't take away any of those things that the ring had, is just purely beneficial and will allow you to invest into it more because it's going to stay with you longer as well. So how much money do you have now after you bought all the cubes?
So yesterday I basically zeroed out my account.
Okay.
Like across all characters.
Yep.
And I probably have like maybe like 100 mil, 200 mil around there from farming yesterday.
Yep. So you can just use all the cubes barely if you...
Yeah, essentially. But I mean, I wasn't going to use the cubes anytime soon.
Yeah.
Or at least like within the week, so...
Yeah, because you're waiting for the weapon and the secondary, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I almost would say wait on the weapon for now.
Yeah.
Because you have the Fig Celeb now, right? And
I do.
That takes like a lot of pressure off of it. So I think you can focus more on your secondary and maybe on just on getting your accessories to some Meso Obtain and maybe some drop rate in Legendary. So that you can start making your money faster, and then once you've made that money faster, then next time you can invest into the Star Forcing first to elevate all of your Absolab stuff, because we do have a Star Force event on the 12th.
Yeah.
That's 30% off. So if you can get a bunch of stuff to 15 stars, then that basically doesn't... It's kind of counterintuitive, but that doesn't really make you that much stronger. But it allows you to go from 15 to 17 on a 5, 10, 15 event very quickly, and that makes you a whole lot stronger. So you're basically doing like the prep work during a 30% off, so that you can get the major payoff during a 5, 10, 15.
Okay. I see. Yeah.
And the accessories is what allow you to do that, because they boost your income a lot. More bags, more money in the bags, so that when you're training, I don't know how much you make when you're training now. Is it like 80 mil an hour or something?
Yeah, probably around there.
So even when you're just normal training, once you up your Meso Obtain gain and your drop rate a bit, you could probably start making like 300 to 400 mil just by like normal training if you use like a coupon every now and then.
Okay.
And they'll just help you recuperate those costs like very quickly.
Okay, I see. So should I start cubing my accessories now? Or should I wait until I get my weapon, cube that, get that to a legendary, and then use the rest on the accessories?
So one thing that I would say that determines that is whether or not you feel like you're having trouble killing the monsters around your level now.
Okay, I see. I just got to Lack, and I did the pre-quest yesterday, and I was like 3-shotting the earlier mobs and like 5-shotting the strongest mob.
And that's your... were you arcane power shy or?
Yeah, so my arcane power right now is at I think it's 260. So
it's just 300 here, but it might be... I don't know how much you have in hyper. Maybe with the new orb, and maybe you leveled it.
Oh yeah. It is 300. Yeah.
So 300 and I'm not in game. I can check here, but what kind of requirement are like the lower left line? Because you'll probably be at like paper bags or those guys, right?
Yeah, the chicken.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Those are pretty low arcane power requirement, I think.
Yeah, they're pretty low.
Do you know how much exactly?
I can take a look right now. I think it's
like 240.
190.
Oh, 190. That'll be... Oh yeah, some people in chat are saying 190. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe it's 190.
And 210
Or
for chicken.
210 for the chickens and 190 for the paper bags.
Okay, so that means if you put like one level, if you put one extra level in arcane power in your hyperstats, that you'll have bonus damage on each of those, right?
Mhm.
So then the main thing just becomes your boost nodes.
Yeah.
Which are 10, 6,
I think
and
my
6.
boost nodes are comparatively low leveled. But I'm not entirely sure if I'm supposed to be at where I want it to be.
Did you buy out the boxes and the nodes from the event shop?
Sorry?
Did you buy out the nodes from the event shop?
Yeah, I bought like everything.
Okay. The level up potions and everything. Well, so the main
Yeah.
thing is like the faster you level, and if you have stuff like these level up potions that just propel you quicker into the levels, then it's normal that your boost nodes are comparatively lower because you haven't had as much time to gather them, right?
Yeah. Oh wait. One thing is that so when I started playing this game again, it was during the Pixel event,
Mm-hmm.
and I had like 20 regrowth potions. So I basically went straight from 180 to 200,
Uh-huh.
and I think that kind of like screwed me over, because I didn't have like Krog gear at the time or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
I mean, yeah, you could just start doing your dailies faster, I guess, and start working your arcane power.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Pixel event did like propel a lot of people into higher levels for sure.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So considering, so you're 3-shotting. These boost nodes are still, with the boost nodes still so low. Oh, do you know like your perfect setup for your nodes and everything? Do you have like that under control? All of that?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, okay. Then I won't get into that much because I would have to do a little bit of research too because I'm not 100% on all of the all of the boost node setups of all the classes in the game.
Mhm. Oh,
All I
one
know
thing
is
is
that
that
all your shit is blue. That's all I know because
yeah,
it's like very difficult to see what node something is because it's just all blue.
yeah. What is like mana overload worth it? Because I was looking into it. Some people said that it was. Some people said that it wasn't.
Yeah, it's a
Just
final
wanted to
damage boost, so that means it's always worth it because it scales with everything. The problem is like
Okay.
when does it become worth it? Because it takes up a
Yeah.
slot, and it empowers everything. So,
Hmm.
um, in the beginning, you're always fighting like, is it better to have a skill with limited uptime that allows me to kill quicker, or is it better to have a boost node that allows me to always be stronger and to increase the downtime of those skills, my kill potential then? So generally, you would want a useful skill node over a low level boost node, but what consists of low level, right? That's kind of the problem there.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
your first skill that you have there on the left side, which one is that? Is that like the
That's the bolt barrage, the
bolt brush?
lightning that
Uh huh.
just comes down in a straight line, um, from like vertically.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Is it like a rune of lightning, basically?
yeah, basically just like yeah,
Like a rune?
essentially.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like the Rune of Thunder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does it gain more uptime as you level it, or is it just more damage?
It's just more damage. The up, it's just like 8 consecutive thunders in in a across the map. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Because I'm thinking like you can typically get a lot of value in the beginning out of your out of your boost nodes,
Hmm.
and maybe something as simple as moving your, because the boost node in the bottom left, is that your ice ball, blizzard, and chain lightning? Is that what that is?
The bottom left. Yeah, that's the ice ball with blizzard and chain
Yeah.
lightning.
Something as simple as moving that one and switching it with the with your big lightning skill. That's
Yeah.
now in a level 5 slot. That will already give you 10% more final damage on those 3 skills.
Okay. Yeah.
So that every
Makes
time you're
sense.
training, they'll just give you 10% more damage.
Okay.
that could already be the difference between like 3-shotting and 2-shotting, maybe.
Okay.
It might be tight, of course, and it's predicated on a bunch of other stuff as well. But in the beginning, getting the max value out of your boost nodes. So skill nodes are specifically very good to level up if they give you more uptime or like a bigger effect or hitting more monsters, something like that.
Okay, I see.
And unless they do that, leveling them up is not a priority at all. Like if you open them up, of course you level them, but you're mainly focusing on those boost nodes early on so that you can have your permanent killing speed, off cooldowns of those big skills, that you can have that be reliably increased.
Mm-hmm.
And the main way is, of course, building up your arcane power so your final damage goes up and you don't get knocked around and killed by the monsters in the map. And then the other thing is leveling up your boost node so that every single hit just hits like a truck, basically.
Okay.
Yeah, so I probably... And what is the other link skill? The other skill to the right of that?
To the right of that's the Spirit of Snow. Basically it just summons like this ice statue, and then it stacks freeze around the ice statue. The ice statue is quite large,
Mm-hmm.
and it also does damage.
Nice station. Yeah, I'm not up to speed with these. Okay. And does that increase the uptime and such?
I actually don't know because I haven't leveled it up at all.
Okay.
But
no,
actually I can check.
the one that's like level 8, I mean. That one.
Oh, wait, hold on.
Like the second one from the top left.
Second one from the top. Oh, that's Ice Age. The
Okay.
the full map clear essentially.
The OG.
Yeah. I'm still waiting for them to revert the nerfs that they made to Ice Age.
That's so
It went
broken.
from like 30 seconds to 15 seconds. Actually huge.
Yeah, I got cut in half, basically, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, they increased the damage, but that doesn't... Like, if you're already able to one-shot, then it's basically a huge nerf. So do you... Does that probably just, like, one-shots or two-shots, right? If you have that up?
Sorry?
That always, like, two-shots, basically? That always clears the mobs before they're able to respawn?
So generally, Ice Age is enough to one-shot them all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm considering, like, maybe also switching Ice Age with your boost node on the top right, just to get another 4% final damage out of those skills as well.
Okay, I see. Yeah.
Because that way, just switching the setup, you'll already increase the final damage on your Ice Ball by 14%.
Okay, yeah.
Which, instead of doing instead of doing like a 100 mil, you do 114 mil damage. That's already, as far as like damage increasing goes, just moving these things around can already be pretty significant. Yeah, and then the other one you were talking about was like the giant Ice Queen that does like damage over time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, typically what I do for these skills is I just Google them and just see what the stats on them say. Ice Mage, these skills, because I can't remember all of these things for all the classes, of course, but some of them are just very useful to level up, and others are just nice to level up, but it's not necessary.
Yeah.
But I think the duration, amounts of stacks, and the cooldown.
I don't think the duration increases.
No, it all stays the same. It's the same amount of monsters, same amount of times, just the hits just go way harder. It's 660. And then 1100 to 1. And it's, the damage like over doubles, basically, by leveling it up. But it hits the same amount of monsters, same amount of times, for the same time, at the same cooldown. So leveling that up is nice, but that's a later thing. That's a later thing you're doing.
Yeah.
The one thing that is nice to level up is your holy symbol, because it gives you more experience boost and more drop rate boost.
Okay, yeah.
So
should I have used my experience nodes? Because I used all the experience nodes on Ice Age.
On Ice Age, yeah.
Yeah. Should I have used it on like the boost node with chain lightning, or like the other boost nodes?
So it's a bit tricky. That always depends on your income of nodes. Most people will say, oh, you have to save experience nodes. You have to use them on your true Reckoning Reflection, because that's the only way to max that. Truth is that true Reckoning Reflection is very, very strong by itself. and it's basically a min-maxing 40-second battle analysis tool once you're doing hard lucid. And the extent to which it's really, really necessary to save your experience nodes for that, rather than to just use them in your progression to speed up your progress, I think is a very niche type thing, and that for some people it is, but I feel like a lot of people give advice from their personal situation rather than what works for someone else that they're actually giving advice to.
Okay.
Like if it's someone's fourth character and they're like planning on dropping 200 bill on a new character and like jumping 4,000 nodes anyway, then yeah, the only value the experience node stones have, and the best value by far, is to level up your true arachnic reflection. But if you're starting from nothing, you basically have the 3 nodes from Vanishing Journey every week, and then hopefully a few that you get, and maybe if there's an event, then the big value is leveling your boost nodes basically. With a few exceptions here and there, when there is a skill, like we just talked about, like if there is a skill node that gets a lot of extra uptime, a lot of extra bonus, like if you're a Kana, putting in Domain is like insanely good, right? If you're a hero, putting it in Burning Soulblade is really good. That empowers your main attack move for a longer period of time, gives it more uptime. That's just really fucking good. But if you're in a situation where you're still trying to build up your boost nodes, and something as easy as those experience nodes will just give you 10% more final damage by dumping them into the right boost nodes, like that's a way bigger gain than getting a little bit more damage on a skill node. Some might even consider also putting it into Holy Symbol just to give to boost your drop rate and your experience, because that in turn will then affect you with getting more boost nodes because of more drop rate.
For sure.
Yeah.
Okay, makes sense.
But before you do that, it's also a good idea to Google Holy Symbol and to look at the numbers there.
Yeah.
Because I think it's like decent Holy Symbol. Because it doesn't even always increase the numbers, right? It goes from 2014 and 2114, 2115, 2215. But like, for example, from level 4 to level 5, it stays exactly the same. Like, it goes from 2215 to 2215. And then it goes to 2316, and then stays 2316 again. Like, it's really weird. Like, from 10 to 11, it's also the same. It just lasts 3 more seconds. So sometimes it's good to just Google and make sure that it's actually worth throwing these things in there. And you know that the higher level you go, the harder it is to level.
Yeah.
So you can check, like, okay, it's level 20 now. It's a 30 and 20. Like, do I want to throw like 40 nodes in there to get it to get 4% more experience and maybe 2 or 3% more drop? Is that still worth it? You know, there's got to be a point, right? It's kind of the same way with Star Forcing. Some people are like, oh, I just have to get it to 22 because that's where everyone gets it. Like, that's the meta. That's the number I'm reaching for. Like, sure, but maybe in the pursuit of 22 on one item, you could have actually had like everything else at 19 and maybe a few items at 20 with the same amount of money, and you would have been infinitely stronger. Right? So sometimes you have to take a step back and it's like, am I doing this because it makes sense for me, or just because it's the general thing that people aim for? And sometimes it's okay to just do something that's a little bit different because it just makes sense for you, because everyone plays the game a bit differently, right? Everyone has a different pace, everyone has this different goal in mind, so yeah.
Okay.
Hopefully that makes you more confident and less confused, though, because the fact that there's not like one thing to do can also make it a bit more confusing, because like, well, now I definitely don't know what to do. But the goal of me saying that is kind of like, well, actually everything can be right as long as you have like the right motivation, right? It's like in school when they're like, if you show your work and you show how you got to it, you can get partial credit or get credit even someone else who just writes down the correct answer but doesn't show how they got there. They might be penalized, right? Because they have no idea how the fuck they got there. You can't reproduce the thought process, you know, that kind of stuff. Okay, we're kind of getting lost in the weeds. Okay, but that all makes sense. How did we get here? Oh, from Transfer Hammer. Okay. All right, ID, does that make sense to you?
Yeah, there's a... Is it, probably is it a logarithmic curve? Or like not like a linear, it's not a linear curve for sure, but yeah,
it's logarithmic. It's like asymptotic, I think. It goes to like an asymptote of 100%. So it's like a logarithmic where it like verges towards 100 but like never reaches it technically, that kind of thing. Yeah, and then showing that it's like because it's multiplicative, it becomes like exponentially harder to get to the high numbers. But it also means that because of that, other sources of damage can come into play to kind of mess with the efficiency of it.
Yeah. I think
Um,
I maybe spent too much hyperstats on IED,
on
but
IED.
yeah. I mean, I have like 8 points in it right now. But yeah.
Well, you're at 80%, so for most of the bosses around your level, so do you know about the difference between functional and visual IED?
I actually don't.
Okay.
This is my first time hearing about it.
Okay. So, well, this is kind of like my own terms that I came up with that makes sense.
Oh,
So
okay.
visual is just what you see in your stat window. That's
Yeah.
just that number. And your functional is actually what gets applied when you hit a monster. So those numbers
Okay.
are
I
not
see.
necessarily the same because there are effects that apply only on hit. So those can be empowering effects that you have, like, for example, passive hyperstats or boost node ID bonuses as well once you reach level 40.
Okay.
Those are only applied on hit on the specific skill. So those can't show in your stat window because your stat window can only show what is always active. And then
Okay.
another on-hit effect that can apply is a debuff that the boss has, for example. That doesn't show in your stat window either because it only applies on-hit as well as the other one. So because of
Okay.
this, it's very important to know that whatever your IED isn't really what's showing up in your stat window, but it's something you have to calculate yourself.
Okay.
So in order to
I
do
see.
that, you can check !IED in the chat, and that'll basically... There's like a short video that kind of explains how the numbers work and everything, like we just talked about with the logarithmic. And there's also a
Okay.
calculator where you can throw in all the sources you have, so you can find
Okay.
out what your functional IED is.
Okay. I
And
see.
yeah, and then you can use that functional number to check with the !progression, and then to see if you're like in the right zone and like in the right area of IED that you want. Because I can tell you right now, like having 8 points in IED, if you're planning on bossing with this character, is not too much. It might even be too little because 80% IED is like very good early on in the game. But once you're talking about CRA, like for 3-door, you probably want to have like 85 or up functional.
Okay.
And
I see.
for Vellum, you want to have like 90 plus functional.
Yeah.
And because you know how it works, that means like to go from 80 to 90, you need to add, you're missing 20%, so you have to add at least half of that 20%. So you need like one line, you would need like one line of 50%, right? To go from 80 to 90.
Okay.
Or like probably like two individual lines of like 30% to go from 80 to 90. So so you're definitely not too high up, but because of how IED works and all the sources are calculated individually, going into an existing source and increasing that existing source by a certain percentage is better than adding that percentage as a separate percentage.
Yeah, for sure.
So if you already have IED, like packing on the IED is a better idea than moving a few pieces into your Legion and IED, for example, because that's like a very small source that doesn't do much there.
Yeah. Okay.
So the main thing, so you were already working on the Lumi, right?
Yeah, I was it's at level 140 right now.
And you have the Bravado. You know about the link skills and everything with the stacking and such?
Yeah, I do.
So if your
Yeah,
other Explorer mages, you can stack them into with this one.
Yeah, I was thinking of making a Fire Poison and Bishop later on. But yeah, I know about it.
Okay. And then to build on that, you can also build on the debuffing, right? So if you get like a Kadena, for example, that link skill helps you deal more damage to monsters that are debuffed by you.
Oh, okay. I see.
And monsters that are lower level. So if you're doing bosses, in general, the bosses will be lower level than you, and you will be debuffing them. So you're basically just giving yourself 12% damage right there, basically all the time when bossing.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So that's a very solid one. Other than that, like some solid link skills are Demon Avenger, for example. Very good.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna.
Yeah, you probably have a list there, right, with the critical rate and the critical damage ones as well.
Yeah, I was thinking of making a what do you call that, kinesis to level 140 for that crit damage last night. But I ended up making it in Iran because I wanted to level up faster, or like making leveling up easier.
Yeah, the orbs are nice for sure.
Yeah.
And they definitely disproportionately help with low-level characters when building your Legion. That's kind of the things I take into account as well with the link skills. It's not just like what is the best for your main character, but also what is the best for your account. And as a result, in being good for your account, that then becomes good for your main character. Because if you can level up all your Legion faster, then your main character gets more bonus from Legion faster.
Yeah.
So it's like, a little bit of a detour, but it ends up paying off for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, with that, I would say you can definitely make a lot of gains from your Legion, but find a balance that works for you. You do like one character to level 60 a day, or if you like getting one character to 120 a day, or you do something every other day, but find something that gives you some gradual progression, but like steady progression in your Legion, because you'll be in like 2.5, 3K, 4K in no time, as long as you do like a little bit every day. Or every other day, but don't burn yourself out. Just try to find that balance. If you're like, okay, now I feel like I'm just doing way too much Legion and I actually enjoy playing my main and I don't feel like I get to play it more, then fuck Legion for a little bit and just go play your main and have fun,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because like you said, you're still trying to play for fun, so don't make it a chore. But a little bit of gradual progress on your Legion goes a long way.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, you know where to find a grid, so you know which ones are very useful. And in general, you can also look at the classes grid I saw that you linked as well. The ones that have like very low leveling speed, typically use those for your mega burning and stuff.
Yeah.
So that you can take some use of that.
Definitely do that.
Okay. Okay, your invulnerability, you know how to go for that.
Oh yeah, so for that, a question I had was, should I start buying miracle circulators so I know the optimal like stat lines for Ice Lightning is like attack speed, buff duration, and crit. But I'm not sure like if I should do it or try to go for it now, because I heard that it takes like maybe like 50 bill or like 10 bill or like some absurdly high number of like mesos to like be able to roll these lines.
I could tell you now that there's probably a less than 1% chance that you will get that exact potential, that exact invulnerability. Like you can probably count the amount of mages on Reboot on one hand that have that exact invulnerability.
Okay.
Yeah, getting both 38% buff duration and 20% crit is near impossible.
Okay, I see. I think I mainly want the +1 attack speed, to be honest. I think.
So there's two. So there would be two options now. You definitely don't want to keep sitting on unique because there's like a lot of potential gains there. The one thing you could go for is focus on the attack speed, but I would say that's mainly what you want to do if you're going to be bossing mainly, because that will give you the added benefit of being able to have shorter animations and then moving out of the way from attacks faster and giving you some survivability. The other option is to roll for a 20% Mez obtain line on top line, so you just make more money while you're training, so you can fund all your other operations and then eventually re-rolling your ability to the end game where you want it faster.
Okay.
A side option could also be to keep 50% buff duration if you get it on your top line in Legendary. But that would also mainly be for bossing, because that's really mainly just to have your infinity last super long.
Yeah.
Which you don't really rely on infinity when you're mobbing, I guess, right? Because it's...
sometimes I do if I...
Until you one-shot, and then when you one-shot, there's no point in doing it. Maybe you'll use it for an elite monster or for an elite boss or something. So the first one and the last one, I guess, is mainly for like a bossing approach, but like getting a line of Mez obtain is probably a good idea just to hold on to for a long time. Like, I don't know if you know this, but my arc is 260. And I have 19% Mez obtain, 15% drop rate, 21 weapon attack. Like, that's my invulnerability.
Okay.
Like, I could be min-maxing on buff duration. I could get extra boss damage out of that, but I'm still leveling. I'm still, well, I've trained for the first time in a year, I think, yesterday, but that's beside the question. Like, if you hit something nice there, as long as you don't need to super rely on that attack speed, just helping it speed up your overall progression is big value there.
Okay.
And then while you're relying on that, then you can build up your honor experience just by training and hopefully by getting a little bit more drop rate and mesobtain on your accessories, right? You'll get more honor medals drop as well, so you can build that up faster. And then try to do dojo once a week just for the ranking points on Monday.
Oh yeah, I should try to hit that up.
Yeah, just once a week, try to get as far as you can. It's like 15 minutes a week. And then, or maybe you have like a 10-minute run, or, you know, if you don't have that much time. But as long as you rank within the top 70%, you'll just get like 10,000 or maybe some more points. And then that's just some extra honor experience you can buy.
Okay. Sounds good.
And honor experience medals from shops, don't forget those.
Oh, yes.
Because, so that's what, so the eventual step is like circulate into 38 buff duration on second or third line. And then lock that in and roll with honor experience to get your attack speed +1. And then lock both of those in and then pray to God for some crit rate. Which, you know, to give you some perspective, I think both my DA and my marksman combined, I've rolled about 7.5 million honor experience only during 50% offs, and I've never seen a single line of crit rate on my third line. So I might be ridiculously unlucky, but I don't think it even exists, honestly, at this point.
Okay.
Yes, Sam. Yeah, attack speed buff and crit. Yeah. Yeah. So with all of that said, oh yeah, transposing. Yeah, that's like a little bit further, right? So that's mainly if you get a Papulatus mark, or if you're going for the Dominator pendant into. But that's like when you have your Superior Gallic set and everything. So
yeah,
this is like between level 240 and 250, like at the earliest probably.
Okay.
And we looked at your matrix. I guess decent sharp eyes is probably something you want to throw in there next.
Okay.
And then decent speed infusion, or the other way around, whichever one helps you the most. Yeah, because it's faster chain lightnings, right, with speed infusion.
Yeah.
And then the sharp eyes will just not only help you with the critical rate, but also critical damage. So as soon as your critical rate gets up to 100%, then all of your critical damage will be applying. And you definitely don't want to underestimate how much that increases your reliable kill speed. That you'll like be able to reliably one-shot once all your other stuff is in order, getting your crit rate to 100. So that's something I definitely want to emphasize when you're building up your Legion, is to definitely aim for crit rate stuff there as well.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
For high priority.
Do you think it's worth it to buy the slots in the V Matrix at this point, or at this time in the game?
You just reached 220.
Yeah.
And you're 3-shotting now, right?
Yeah, currently 3-shotting.
Well, after some changes and moving your stuff around, you can see if you're then 2-shotting, I don't think you will.
I can probably 2-shot the earlier mobs.
Yeah, going from 2-shotting to 1-shotting might be too big of a jump to really be warranted by getting those. So the question is, like, do you if you can roughly kill the minions before they respawn or as they respawn, then your overall experience per hour doesn't really go up by buffing you a whole lot, right?
Yeah. Makes sense.
But if buffing you puts you in the position where you can just kill all the minions before they respawn, you can almost like get 50% more experience out of your training session. So the extra attack speed, I guess that's something that you wanna like test. If you can see that the monsters are respawning like as you're still killing some of the minions, or if you're actually kind of like waiting for monsters to respawn, getting extra attack speed might put you in a position where you can move around the map a little bit faster and clear them a little bit faster, and then have more monsters always be there. And since you mainly rely on big AoEs, new monsters immediately walking into your AoEs can definitely help you increase your overall experience per hour.
I see.
So I guess you want to, see how close you are to killing monsters at respawn, and then check if adding decent speed infusion for one helps you. Because I don't think it's super expensive for a slot now, right? It must be like 50 or 60 mil or something.
Yeah, it's not that much.
You'd be like, well, you're just 220, so you're 5 levels out. Maybe like 80 or something? Man, I'm just purely guessing here. I honestly don't really know. Take off a V skill if you're not one-shotting. Well, the problem is that these are like huge AoEs. So as an Ice Lightning, it would allow him to like put an AoE down somewhere and then kill somewhere else, effectively increasing his map coverage by a lot.
Yeah, I think all my V skills are quite decent at
They're
mobbing.
huge, yeah.
Yeah.
What's the longest cooldown? Oh yeah, true. What is the longest cooldown?
The longest cooldown is
the spirit like 3?
Spirit of Snow. It's 2 minutes, or it's like,
yeah, it's only 2.
so
yeah,
5% of 2 minutes is like
was it 90-second
like 1 minute
downtime, right? Because it's 30
yeah,
uptime,
90,
120.
yeah, 30 down, 30 uptime.
Yeah.
So it's probably like, but I usually weave it in with my Ice Age, because that's like 55-second cooldown and 15-second uptime. So I'm usually able to like weave it in, so that I either have Spirit of Snow or Ice Age on the map.
Yeah. Yeah, and then Bolt only has 30-second downtime, so that's, you just spamming that basically.
Yeah.
Take the spirit off. You mean for speed infusion? Oh, Bolt is 45, not 30. Oh, is this outdated? Yeah, it is.
Oh yeah, it's like 45.
Stuff is not 100% updated. Oh wait, do we have to do this here? Oh, it's this one. Oh, this is 1.97. Yeah, it's 45 seconds. Yeah. You take off Bolt for a boost node. Yeah, that could be a thing. What is that last boost node you have there? Blizzard.
To the right?
No, the one on the bottom, way bottom left, like the one you have level 3. Is that rounding out your set or chain lightning?
Oh, that's Blizzard. It has Blizzard, Chain Lightning, and Eloquence. So I also opened up a new slot upon reaching level 220. So
this was the 215 setup.
Yeah, this is the 215 setup.
Okay.
So I'll put the
Yeah, put extra boost node.
I was going to put the boost node inside.
Yeah, and put all the boost nodes on the top line where they're all leveled up. And take the skill nodes out of the leveled up slots. And then your total final damage should be going up by probably like 20% compared to here.
Yeah, actually it's quite high now.
And wait, and how much is it now to unlock one extra slot?
It is 153.
Yeah, now it's that one is considerably more, yeah.
I mean, it's fine. I don't think I really need to.
No, I think you're good now. I guess you could experiment between like switching out the Bolt for speed infusion and seeing if it makes like a measurable difference, being able to move around the map faster. And then when you train, do you use Green Pot as well to be like faster attacking?
I actually have not been using. I have not been using pots. You're talking about the Monster Park pots, right?
Yeah, the green, yellow, the blue.
Yeah, I actually haven't been using them because I recently found out about them.
Okay.
As in like yesterday.
Yesterday, okay.
So yeah, I'll definitely be looking at those.
Okay. Yeah. So, yeah. That's another thing on the list, right? Doing your Monster Park dailies, and because I saw that you had Monster Park on your grid, that's why I assumed that you have.
Yeah, I do them. I have quite a bit of coins.
Okay, cool. So you can just buy a bunch.
Yeah, I actually didn't know what they were used for. I thought they were just like there.
Yeah, it's like a different tab in the shop as well. Like you have to click the special tab, and it's like, oh, there's useful stuff as well. Like it's not just dumb boxes with mustaches and yeah, true. All right, I think that clears all that stuff up. Okay, now we can actually get to your gear, dude. Hell yeah.
Oh yeah. Sorry if this is taking so long.
That's good. I mean, it's like more fundamental, I guess, but it makes sense. Okay. Well, we've gone over like a bunch of things already, like tangentially, right?
Yeah.
Doo-doo-doo.
One thing that I wanted to ask about was for my gear, is it particularly like worth to uh tier or like tier them up to legendary as soon as possible, or should I just take it slow?
Um, it's better to take it slow sometime. So your accessories, you want to have access to like the meso and the drop rate,
Yeah,
and that's
yeah,
the
you
only
mentioned.
option there is legendary.
Hmm.
And aside from that, like your weapon secondary emblem, like a lot of damage comes from the magic attack there. That's also mainly just huge on legendary. So
Yeah.
one of the things you're going to be mainly investing in is getting getting that shield, getting it to legendary, and getting some magic
Hmm.
attack there.
Yeah.
And I would say your accessories, because you're going to be like training a bunch and you're going to be killing pretty quickly with this class.
Uh-huh.
So the more you can just confirm getting your bags of meso and getting a lot of money in the bags,
Hmm.
you might have to skip like one or two Star Force events because you're investing more heavily into your accessories first to get your fundamentals in order. But once
Yeah.
that's in order, you'll be building up money so quickly that whenever a Star Force event does come around, you'll be able to make huge gains.
Okay, I see.
So yeah, it is very possible. Like if you invest now into your accessories and into the right accessories, right? Maybe not into for example, like not into your Silver Blossom ring now because you're going to be replacing it like in a week, right?
Hmm.
Or maybe 2 weeks, because of the RNG of the ring. And then once you get those rates, so probably like the July 12th is probably like a little bit unfortunately planned for you. So
Yeah.
probably coming a little
Yeah.
bit too early.
Hmm.
The one thing you can do though is if you can get a few items that are already at 11 or 12 stars, get those to 15. So
Hmm.
you have a few items that are like prepped of jumping from 15 to 17.
Yeah.
So like your CRA stuff is already like kind of up there, right? Yeah, you only
Hmm.
have your one item that's a little bit off. And you have the kind of treasuring. But yeah, you mainly go both for potentialing after that, so like the accessories, and then your secondary definitely, right? And then
Hmm.
after that, you basically just always prioritize the highest level items because both for star forcing they make the biggest gains on the amount of stars, and both for
Hmm.
potential they have the higher tier of potential access, and also for flaming because they have the greater potential for flame stats. Of course, if they are flame advantaged items.
Sure. Yeah.
So, for example, like your glove, for example, could gain a lot from flames right now, right?
Yeah.
It's like it's like sub 50 flame score. It's typically pretty easy. Like you saw my mom do it with a single flame to roll like an 84 on on her Hayato because just one flame wonder. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, but that's where the flames go. Like Chaos Ring, you're still re-rolling for the stats, but
Yeah.
yeah, there's nothing wrong at all, or it's like really good to just get this guy to legendary. Try to, ideally, you want to get like a line of meso or drop plus a line of
Hmm.
intellect, so that you don't, so that in the process of tiering up, you're not also losing damage. But as long as you
Hmm.
make the jump from epic to legendary and kind of like bypass unique, you can basically guarantee that you're both gaining damage and gaining the utility.
Yeah.
Because you're
For
6
sure.
at most 9% stat, and you're going to aim for 9 at the worst, like a 6% all stat line that goes with a Meso Obtain line, for example. So it's going to be roughly equivalent or an upgrade plus the utility.
Hmm. Okay.
Um, but yeah, so what you could do is like prioritize. It's gonna be tricky. I don't know if you know this, but like when you're training, do you feel like every mob pretty much drops a bag of meso, or do you still see a lot of monsters that don't drop
Uh,
one?
I think.
It's kind of tricky, right? Because you have summons across the map that you can't really see how much you're killing.
Yeah. Um. Yeah.
'Cause
I'm not entirely sure what the
it's a bit
meso
difficult.
drop rate. I assume that it was quite high because.
It used to be right
Uh.
with familiars, because the spider would just like confirm basically.
Yeah.
But now you still have to wait at
Mhm.
least 2 more
I
full weeks.
I heard that it's probably coming in the next update, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it should be on the 22nd, but yeah, I mean, let's. They already also said that they fixed the portal on Helix like 4 times already, so I'm not holding my breath on that one. But yeah, since you have those, yeah, the accessories feels a bit weird to throw like money into the eye in the face now when you have like the tattoo and a monocle also already there, and they're already a tier higher, right?
Yeah. I was thinking of, or like based on what you told me earlier, I was thinking of just getting them to 15 stars in the next Star Force event.
Mm-hmm.
And then just replacing the eye, or like the Zakum accessories with the Sweetwater.
Yeah, if you can get that by the 12th, then yeah, that would just bypass investing into the Sakum Iron Face completely. But then you'd have to recount your set bonus as well, right?
Oh yeah, that's right.
So if you're getting rid of those, you have 2, 4, 6, 7, 8. You're going down to 6. And then you're getting rid of the ring to go down to 5. Yeah. So then, but then you are missing that 10% IED line. So you'll have to, in your calculations, you'll have to make sure that you're making up for that in some other way.
Yeah.
Which might... You have one line, right, on your emblem?
My emblem? Yeah, I have one line, 30%.
Yeah. Yeah, emblem's not like godlike by any means, but it's like solid for now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say like boost those accessories. Like if you can get like the ideal situation is just like that all of them are legendary, 5 of them have a line of mezzo, and then 4 of them have a line of drop rate, and then all of them have one line of intellect along with them. And then that'll be like your solid foundation to boost your earnings, and then from there on out you have the foundation that allows you to just stockpile money like crazy.
Okay, I see.
Because
is the Dom pendant worth it, or is the Dom pendant, or like is Mezzo Obtain and drop rate good on Dom pendant, or?
I mean, it's good on everything, right?
Oh yeah.
If it's so if it's legendary, the thing now though with the accessories is like, let's say you get into legendary and you actually happen to roll like a lot of intellect instead of Mezzo Obtain or drop rate, then that's kind of fine too, because you have 9 items to spread the stats over. Okay. So if you get something that gets like a lot of intellect, that's fine. You don't have to roll over that, right? If it's but once you have more accessories, you know, once you have it a little bit more locked down, no, yeah, the Dominator Pendant is solid. We'll probably get well, it's okay for now. We'll probably get reflamed. Too bad you got that 56 and 5 on a different stat. Oof.
Yeah, that was
that could have been pretty nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, since it's already unique, so that I would definitely prioritize this one to get the Mesopotamia or drop rate on, because it's already unique, right? So it's only 1 tier up away from giving you that money back.
Yeah. I was actually very lucky. During DMT, I got 9 cubes in, and I tiered up 2 of them to legendary, and 4 of them to, or 2 of them to unique.
Wow, 9 cubes. Way to flex on us that you actually got 9 to do.
Or that this was also across 2 sessions.
Oh, across 2 sessions. Okay. That puts it into perspective. Okay. Yeah, another thing is, if you still have some red cubes, try to get a line of critical damage on your gloves.
Oh, so I actually burned through 72 red cubes on my gloves, because I was looking for both the crit damage line and like a main stat line, and I didn't find a single one.
Wow, okay.
I was so sad.
That is kind of sad. Can we get an F in the chat for 72 cubes? No. Honestly, I threw a bunch of cubes at my glove as well on my hero, and I got 1 line of critical damage, 1 line of strength. I think like, I don't know, I think it was like 8 packs of black cubes or something. Like 8 packs of 6. Yeah, not too hot either.
Yeah, I was doing this along with my friend, and he was like, "Don't worry, it's pretty common. You'll get it."
Yeah, no, yeah. There was a dude in the in my Discord who was like, "Oh, it's okay, guys. I got this in 2 bill." Like, and among the items was like a 2-line critical damage glove. I'm like, motherfucker. He's got like 4 items to legendary, 6 or so to unique, and got double crit damage on the glove. I was like, okay, okay, dude.
Okay, dude.
Yeah. Oh, somebody already sent a message to Sam. Okay, thanks, Psycho. Yeah. So okay. Okay. Well, so fuck the glove for now, then, I guess. Let it steam in its own filth for a little bit, and then circle back. Yeah. So main thing, accessories, and your secondary. Boom. Legion increase. That's gonna help a lot. Calculating your functional ID. Working on crit rate with your Legion, very important. Leveling up your boost nodes. And I think you have 3 boost nodes that have Chain Lightning now then, right? So make sure you have like the correct boost nodes set up before you get... You can get up to like level 5 or 6. That's still pretty decent, because if they're then in level 5s, then that brings them up to 11, and then you have 4 of them, so that brings you up to above 40, so that you can get the boost node boost and over level 40, so that's just really good. But don't overinvest if you are like overlapping in multiple boost nodes, like more than 2.
Okay, I see.
Yep. Belt is just gonna stay. Shoulder is hopefully one of the items that might be able to go up to 15, right? But so that'll kind of depend on how much money you have left once you have your accessories set up.
Yeah.
But yeah, try to get Abso.
It'll eventually go up. Yeah, I'm not too worried about that.
Yep. So flame-wise, the gloves are definitely up for a huge upgrade. You were going for the shoes soon, you said, so that will probably be like a nice flaming project as well. Yeah, aside from that, mainly the 12th, getting a bunch of stuff to 15, that's going to be your goal. And then it's going to be just training, dailies to hopefully get a bunch of money so that a 5, 10, 15 rolls around and you can get a bunch of stuff to 17.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's going to be a big save up for another big round of cubing. That's basically what and then slowly over time, just flaming here and there, basically. But I wouldn't spend a lot of money on extra of them. There is the fountain, the phase 3 fountain with that big box that can give you up to 45 Eternals. Like, that would be...
yes.
There'll be a lot of crazy... Like, if you can get most of your Abso by then, even if you just have your Abso weapon, right? Maybe you don't even have to invest into all of the sources of upgrading. Like, if you just invest into... So one of the things having the fake Abso lab allows you to do is get a Fafnir on the side. Get it to... I don't know if you... Well, you probably already have a Fafnir, right?
Oh, I actually don't.
Okay.
Once I heard about the
fake celeb, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I still have like 9 pieces of Vellum, but I mean, I'll just do one Vellum run with one of my friends.
Yeah. Well, you might be able to solo soon, right? Because with the upgrades you're making as well. Yeah. Fuck playing with friends when you could solo, dude.
That's true.
Wait, wasn't that building like a manifesto about doing things together with people? Oh, hang on. Like going against my own advice here. No. So like I was saying, so one of the things you could do is like get like a Fafnir on the side, getting it to 15 during a 30% off, and then getting it to 16 during a 5, 10, 15, then transfer hammering it into whatever Abso you have. 5, 10, 15, and then, free 16 again on the Abso, and then 16 to 17 protect to end up with, like, your ultimate 17 Abso, right?
Bruh, that's some big brain stuff.
Yeah, so you can do that. So you can do all of that prep work without needing to buy the Abso yet, and without needing to invest in the Abso yet. So that's why you can, like, hit 3 birds with 1 stone, basically, yeah.
That's actually crazy. Alright, I'll definitely look into that then.
And if you do have the weapon early, you can already flame on that. Say, like, you get lucky with the shoe and with the, you boost up your CRA bit, you get lucky with the shoe, and you get lucky with the glove, and you do have extra flames, then you could decide to already buy the weapon and pre-flame it, because remember, transfer hammering doesn't replace the flame, so that'll get saved then as well. So in a way, it feels a little bit counterintuitive because you have like money invested in your pre-item. You already have your post-item that's also got invested in, but none of it is working for you because you're still relying on your fake celeb item. But
Yeah.
you know, it goes back into the theme of like temporarily gimping yourself so that you can then make that huge upgrade and feel way better.
Yeah, for sure, for
So
sure.
that'll, yeah, hopefully that'll roll into that. Yeah, like your Lydium heart and everything, I would just like leave it where it is. Honestly, I don't think it's worth like the amount of investment because of the small amount of stat it gains. And
Yeah.
maybe this winter we'll get the fairy heart, even if it costs 2 bill, it'll be level 100. So
Oh, yes.
they could have the
That would
potential
be.
of 30% versus 12% on this. So that's, yeah, 18% gain is basically like a 3-line epic items or like 2 double
Mhm.
prime line unique items. So
Yeah.
by that time, you know, you'll be in a completely different situation. You might already be close to 250 or something. So at that point, you'll have many different things that you're spending money on and many different things you're focusing on.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I don't know if you have any more specific questions.
I think that's actually everything that I wanted to go over. Thank you so much for the session.
No problem, dude.
Yeah,
If there's ever anything, you know where to find me.
yeah, for sure.
And
I'll be definitely watching.
all right. And I'll throw it on YouTube in case there's anything you want to go over again or if you want to show your friends or something, whatever.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Sounds good.
All right. Thank you very much.
All right.
And best of
Yeah.
luck.
Yep, for sure. All right.
All right. See ya.
Peace.